Are you a beach background or do you want it changed or?
No, I love it.
Okay.
It's good. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Prodigy's Simply Fit podcast. I am your host, Andrew Hamill, and today I am joined by one of our newest kick-ass members, Anna Ruotolo. She joined, her and her crew joined us at the beginning of 2020. And I wanted to bring Anna on because she is a super powerful woman, not only professionally, but has defeated breast cancer, which I think is amazing. And so I wanted to bring her on to talk about kind of her fitness journey and kind of potentially give you guys some tips and tricks that you could use to get started or to kind of find that motivation. So Anna, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, kind of, if you don't mind kind of giving a little bit of a background as to kind of how you got into fitness and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So I've been into working out pretty much my whole life. I mean, I have a lot of energy. I have to get rid of it somehow. And I'm in a high stress job. So, and I'm a mom and, et cetera, et cetera. So working out for me gives me a release, gives me an escape, and just lets me really just get away from it all and just stay strong mentally and physically. So my whole life, I've always just been doing something. I've always been working out. I love working out, whatever that workout might be at the time. So.
Right. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. No, and I love how you touched on the points of like kind of that mental release or that escape, right? And I think that's something that people often don't think about, right? They think about like working out is like the physical aspects of working out, but there's so much like mental benefit that you'll get from working out. Even just being able to like unplug for an hour and just hey, I'm leaving my phone in the cubby, like I'm not looking at it. I'm just going to get away from all of my work stresses, my life stresses, and just kind of be with me and myself for an hour. I think it's super powerful for people.
Yeah, it really, really is. And I think I've been really fortunate that I've taken the journey of fitness in my life, because I can seriously think about 2 times in my life, and there's probably been more, but I can literally think of one time where being super strong and fit saved me physically. And then I can think of another time where being physically fit saved me mentally. And if you would like me to sort of touch on those?
Please do.
Okay.
No, I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So one is when I got my surprise diagnosis of breast cancer, and that was a self-found cancer. I found it myself, and the doctors thought it was just a stage 1, simple, easy. I was very strong. I was running a lot at the time. I actually ran a 5K. No, it was a wharf to wharf, so it was a 6 mile. I ran it before my very first surgery. When I woke up after that surgery, lo and behold, I had a 3-inch mass in me, and I was diagnosed stage 3. So a whole nother plan came around, one in which it involved 2 years of basically treatments. And we're talking chemo, losing hair, 9 surgeries, 35 days of radiation. It hurt a lot. But by the fact that my body was so strong from having been in fitness and in strength, I could take it. I mean, it's not that I wasn't in pain. I was really in pain, but my body could take it. And I told the doctors, just do whatever you need to do, because I have boys, I have to raise them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's still emotional to me. Yeah. But so my body had the strength to bring me through this. And my fitness brought me through it too, because I registered for stuff while I was going through my journey, because I needed that in me. Yeah. And I remember I registered for a 10K weeks before my double mastectomy. And I was so emotionally charged around it. I mean, I was just like, I have to do this, I have to. And my girlfriend was by my side. We ran through the rain, but it was because it meant so much to me that, like, if I could do this, if my body can do this, I can do everything else.
Yeah.
After my second chemo, we ran a 5K, And I had 15 people on my team running with me. And it was just like to get that strength and that power. So that's just sort of like what fitness has been to me. It's just been, so it saved me because my body could take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the physical side of it, right? And then you get to the mental side of it. So don't let me fool you. I'm, just like everybody else, where you mess in your head and stuff like that. You just like your head's going, just like, and it was 4 years ago. I was getting ready for another challenge. The gym I was at, we used to have these challenges, and I'm competitive. I love competing. And I remember all of a sudden I just started crying, and my trainer's going, "What's wrong?" And I go, "I want to be before cancer. I don't want to be in this." And it was, what it was is I realized 7 years later that I was still living in fear.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, in this tiny little gym, I have this realization that I'm living in fear and I'm going to release this now. And in this challenge, I'm going to mentally release. And through that, my body transformed. And I would say that was really 4 years ago. What fitness did for me was just amazing. I dropped, so besides dropping like 15 pounds, which was, I didn't even know I had 15 pounds to drop, but I did. I broke every record I had. Like I went to like doing 54 push-ups, to, doing pull-ups, to wall sitting for 12 minutes or something crazy like that. But once I released my fear and I let my mind really be present in my fitness, it was like my body said yes. And it was just, it's amazing. So that's the mental savior that I'm talking about, that fitness gave me. It was just powerful, and I can just still remember it so vividly. So that's why I do it. I mean, I love it. It saved me twice. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think to that point, right, I think what people don't often realize is that your mind is really, really powerful, both positively and negatively, right? Like, and it's not something that you probably, like you were kind of saying, like you probably didn't realize, but you were living with this fear. And it wasn't until you had kind of that aha moment, but like that fear, like subconsciously was holding you back. And I think that, going with fitness, right, for example, and investing in yourself, you are able to show yourself like, I can do a lot of really amazing things. Like my body is a really powerful tool. And it's just about like getting yourself to believe in yourself that you can do it. So that's awesome. No, I'm actually really glad to hop on this podcast with you, because those are two stories that like I said, we've known each other for, oh gosh, it's almost a year now, but yeah, those are, I appreciate you sharing those. Those are amazing stories. So what would you say to somebody who, maybe on the fence, right? Maybe they've tried, they feel like they've quote unquote tried everything. They've tried every diet, or they've tried every, fitness regimen, or they do whatever. Like, what are maybe like 1 to 3 like tips that you may have for somebody who is just struggling, and they just want, like, they're tired of maybe how they're feeling, how they're looking, maybe they just lack confidence, whatever it is. Like, what's like 1 to 3 things that you would tell them?
Yeah. That's a great question. So one thing is, it's small steps. Don't make it too big of a step, because you're going to overwhelm yourself. And that's like with any commitment you make in life, right? Just take one step at a time. Don't look at the 1,000 stairs in front of you. Look at the first step, right?
Yeah.
So showing up is step 1. And don't worry if you can't lift 5 pounds or 50 pounds. It's just step 1, show up. So ways to make it easier to show up is get your clothes ready the night before, get your water ready the night before, so you don't have to think about all those things. And I still to this day do that every night. It's a habit now. It's not like something I have to think about. Getting a support group is so strong. I have my SSAM team, and we've been together a very long time. And there's like, if one of us doesn't show up, we're texting each other. Where were you? Where are you? Are you okay? Having that support team really helps. But I would say 1, just take the first step And the first step is just show up and don't have worries about if you can do a push-up. I could not do a push-up for a very, very long time. I still remember my first push-up I did, you know what I mean? And it's a huge accomplishment. It's so great. But allow people to be on this journey with you, and just find where you feel comfortable, take that first step, and then just let go and be there. And just, it's amazing when you do.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think that's powerful. And I love the tip of, you know, kind of setting your clothes out, you know, the night before, or, you know, kind of getting all of those hurdles out of the way, right? Like, I think that, that going along the lines of, like, for example, when, you know, people are trying to eat better, like meal prepping, for example, right? Like spending that hour or two on the weekend and just meal prepping, so you don't have to think about it. You just grab and go. And I think that's powerful, because if you think about it, right, then you give yourself that chance or that opportunity to talk yourself out of it, right? Like, if my clothes aren't set out the night before, and like I give myself that chance of like, oh well, I got to go into my drawer, get my clothes out, like, you know, I'm just gonna go back to bed, like it's whatever. So I think that's awesome. And
another thing I always say is, just when the alarm goes off, just get out of bed.
Yes.
And because don't stall, don't think about it, don't, just get out of bed, fall out of bed if you have to, just get out of bed.
Absolutely.
It's like, that's the first step, right?
Right.
Get into your clothes and then go.
Right. Yeah. And I've even started, I don't know if you've read the book, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. Yeah. So she kind of talks about that, where it's just like, the alarm goes off, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like get out of bed, go, like, don't think about it, just do it, because you're going to regret getting back into bed, right? And then
another thing you touched on, diet. I choose to not use that word. And that's because diet to me always sounds temporary, or sounds like people have these connotations around diet, you know. I just say I'm just going to make better choices, or make the best choice I can for the day. So that's going to be, you know, trying to not eat the processed foods, trying to, you know, not eat the sugars. I love sweets. So that's my biggest weakness. But, you know, so I just try to make healthy choices versus saying I'm on a diet. I'm never on a diet. I just can't. To me, that just doesn't lead me down the path I want to be on.
Correct.
So I say I'm going to make healthy choices.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a great point. Yeah, absolutely. And I often don't use that word either, but because I think that it's ultimately, right, it's a lifestyle, right? And you've adopted the lifestyle of, hey, I'm going to do my best to make the healthy choice. And I think more importantly too, is like, you know, if you mess up, right, let's call it a mess up, right, and you have that cookie or whatever, it's like, okay, great, like enjoy it, like don't beat yourself up about it, right? Don't let it potentially snowball, but like don't beat yourself up about it. And like, if you know, I think if another, you know, kind of thing that, you know, I find talking to people about is like, give yourself a little bit of grace in that, like, where if you had a glass of wine with friends, like that's awesome, like don't, you know, enjoy, right? And I think you can absolutely attest to this, right? Like enjoy life and enjoy all of those small things that, you know, going out with friends and having cookies and all that stuff. Oh, very cool.
Chocolate chip cookies.
Absolutely. So this has been awesome. What would you say to someone who just says like they can't, and maybe we kind of answered this already, but like if they're struggling with consistency, right? Like maybe they're on the wagon, right? And they do it, and then they can only last a couple of days or a week or whatever. Like, do you have any tips? Like, what has helped keep you consistent? You know, because you know, typically at the gym, right? You're a 5-day-a-week person. You're off, you know, running on a couple other days of the week. Like, you're pretty consistent. So, like, what are some things that you have done to help make yourself consistent, to create that habit, right? You talked about creating those habits.
Yeah, and that's I think the gym is just like anything else in your life, right? When you want to succeed at something, you have to make it a habit, and you have to. You know, you have to get it to be a habit. The most successful people have the most boring routine because they do the consistent things that make them successful, right?
Yeah.
So it just becomes one of those non-negotiables in a way, correct?
Right,
so
absolutely.
My time at the gym is 6 a.m. And so my alarm clock's set every day. My clothes are set out. My water's set. I go to bed at a certain time because I know I have to be up and out. And you just have to make that commitment to yourself. And after the struggle at the beginning, because it is a struggle, and it is hard at the beginning. And hopefully that's where you get your network that can, reach out and start helping you come in. But then it just becomes such a joy, because if you don't do it, then it feels like there's a hole in your day and you just don't know what, like you're off, so
Yeah.
but it's just choose that time that works best for you. For me, I know it has to be in the morning because my nights get too crazy and I'm public facing, so I get it done within the morning so that it's done and I start my day energized and I just go. But it becomes a commitment to myself and a commitment to my team there at the gym now, where we're at that point where it's a commitment to them too.
Yeah.
And it's just like anything else in life that, whatever you find important, you're going to make time for and be committed to.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think exactly right, to kind of finish on that, right? You're saying like, if it's important to you, you'll make time for it and you'll make, commitment. And I see this, and maybe you can speak of this as well, okay, being a mom, but I see it a lot with moms is just like, you guys are so kind of, you put your efforts into making sure everyone else is taken care of, right? Like you're making sure your kids are, taking all their sports activities and all that stuff. And then it's like we often find that moms put themselves last, and then they wake up one day and they're like, what the heck happened? Like, I don't know. Right. And so I think, ultimately it's to be the best version of you and to be the best mom and all that stuff. Like you have to invest in yourself first.
Absolutely. And I think it gives your kids so much value to see you as a mom being strong and taking care of herself too, because it says, I have worth too, right? And it teaches them how to have self-worth. So, because people learn most by watching.
Yes.
It's not what we say, it's what we do. And so babies, I mean, everything, right? Everything they learn by watching us. And so by us taking care of ourselves, we're teaching them. It's important for them to take care of themselves. And it's the biggest thing you can do for your family, because if you are not healthy, if you're, it's going to hurt them in the long run, right?
Yeah.
So it's the best thing you could do, and your kids will understand, and they'll actually start having fun with it. I mean, it's great when I can go to the gym with my boys and lift with them. I mean, it feels great, and when you hear your kids saying something like, well, my mom can bench that, and you're like, going, yeah, I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, when you can go out and try to play basketball with them, but you're not as good as them, but it's okay, but it's just so fun when you have then that relationship with your kids. And I know it's hard. So when they were younger and they were playing soccer, we're all on the soccer fields here in Pleasanton, right? That's when I started jogging, because I had to bring the boys to the soccer fields for an hour before the game. So I would start jogging around them, so you can make time if you want to make time. So.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's a great point, right? Where it's like, you just have to get creative sometimes, but like, hey, drop your kids off at their sports activities and, go for a run, go for a walk. That's a great way to do that. And then I think too, kind of what you were saying, like including family into it, right? And showing them that it's like a normal part of everyday life to be fit and healthy and active and invest in themselves, I think is crucial, right? Which I think are amazing points. So no, I think we're going to end it there. I think this has been awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to share your story with us and talk about being consistent and taking small steps and finding that support system, which I think are all crucial to overall success. So that was going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying your day, and I will see you all next week.
Great. Thanks. Bye.